What's up, Dave? I'm gonna try to make a cool little video here for you. Show you the process for the thing. So, making these Donald Trump rings. Donald J. Trump. Vote in 2020, keep America prosperous. Pretty pimpin'. I like them. They look cool. Sold one on eBay today just while I was at work. I got a little stack of them here that I've kind of already prepped. I wrap them in Teflon tape, and then I do, this is going to be the one I'm going to press. I got the blue shop towel wrapped around it too. I just cut them into strips. You can see just the strips of blue shop towel. I just fold it over a bunch of times and then make some strips. 17-degree die. I punch these with a 3/4 inch punch and hit it with the, what's the small cone? This one right here. This is the little tiny cone that comes in the Jason's Work set. I start the fold with this, it gets the bend. Then I move from that to the big Delrin one. Once I get the Delrin one going, just make sure your coin's centered in the die, press it about halfway down, take it out, reset everything, make sure it's nice and flush, press it all the way down until everything is completely flush inside the in the die. It's as far as you're going to get it with the cone. Done. Move on from that. Swedish Wrap. This is the largest one. Any of those big copper rounds, that's you're going to have to start in that big one. In fact, it's like barely fits in that once you wrap it with everything. I'm going to set this up here. See if this works. Alright, you should be able to see everything. So I'm going to drop this in my Swedish Wrap. Get it as far down in there just by hand as possible. Start with the big brass piece. And I just get that to just get it started. Once it's in and started, take that out, and I move on to the Jason's Work. So this Jason's Works piece is badass. I love this thing because you can just keep going, keep going, keep going, and you keep track of how far you're going with all the different levels on it. I had this one marked. I tried to get cute and 12, 11, but I don't know what coin that was for, and every coin that's different, so you can't really rely on that. As you go down, you want to press down. You want to turn it, because if you keep, imagine this is your coin, you keep pressing that little spot right there, it could create a bubble. So you want to press, then you want to rotate, press, you want to rotate, press to keep it even and flat on the edge of the coin's reeded side. So I know for a fact this all the way bottomed out is damn near a 10, which, turn it, I want to finish this ring at right about a 10, because when I flip it over, so that's to the mark that I have as a 9. So I remember that. When I flip it over, it's going to be the reed side in, which is thicker. So that reed side in, you can see right now the taper on it. It's not a sharp taper. So like all you got to do is press this reed side in just a smidge more, you know? So when I do the reed side, it's actually going to make it closer to my target size. So right now, this is coming in at a 12. So I got to go a little bit more. I want this to probably like an 11 to 10. So that way when I press in the reed side, it'll shrink the reeded side down to close to the 9, 9.5, which is where I need to be. So I'm going to go a little bit more, and then I'm probably going to have to anneal this again, just because, actually, you know what? I'm going to switch. That's at the bottom of that. I'm going to switch over. Yep, it just fits in the next size. Same thing. I always start with the brass one, because I know that's nice and even pressure all the way around. And I'm only going to go down to the 3rd ring on this. Right there, and that's getting really, it's getting really hard to press, so that means I'm going to need to anneal again. There we go. Let's see where that puts us on the ring. And there's a, that came right off. So that puts me just over a 10. Is that going to focus? Focus. puts me just over the 10, short of the 11. So now when I shrink that reed side down, that's going to bring that down to probably right at the 9. So I'm going to re-anneal this, and then I'm going to stop this video now. I'm going to re-anneal it, and then I'm going to start the video up for like a round 2, and we'll keep going from there. Alright, John, I'm back. Alright, Dave. Let's see. So, re-annealed. Should be good to go. I'm going to wrap this with about 15 layers of Teflon tape. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So that's like 15, 16 layers. Grab my little piece of shop towel here. Wrap that around it. Drop that in, and I'm literally only going to pop this down a smidge past that spot I was at before. That's the 3 right there. So I'm going to go, that's the 2. That's it. That should be, let's see where that finishing up at. Ooh, that's already at like, looks like a 9.5. So we're going to take and flip it over at this point. So now it's in here. It's at cut side is coming down at a 10.5. The reed side's coming out almost a 9.5. Yep, reed side's coming out at a 9.5 is where it's bottoming out. So when I cut this down, it's going to bring me probably around an 8.5. It's going to drop a whole size, if not more. And then when I deburr the inside, that'll bring it down even more. So we're going to go back to that same witness line, upside down, which was like the second witness line right there. So now we should have an almost perfectly straight ring. And we'll see what size we're at here too. Alright, so I'm actually a little bit smaller than I want to be. It's at, oh, this damn thing doesn't like the focus. So it looks like we're probably maybe a 7 3/4 here, 7.5. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take all this stuff off, and I'm going to ream out the inside and see how far that gets me. Because there's, on the inside of these rings, on the inside of these copper rounds, there's a really hard edge. Oh, see, I'm out of focus again. There's a really hard edge right there. And you can actually ream that out and gain almost a good half to a whole size without getting into your inside coin detail. I don't know if you can see that lip on the back of this reeded side there. So I'm going to ream that out and see what I can come up with for a finished size. Where's my reamer? Now, if you're doing silver, keep all your silver shavings, because you can take these silver shavings and melt them down. At least I do anyway. You melt that silver down and I can make little pieces of wire and bracelets and all kinds of fun stuff out of that silver, you know. Be careful reaming not to dig your point edge of your tool in. Keep it out. That way it doesn't hit your details on the inside of the coin. Rotate it every so often just to keep it clean. Alright, let's see where that got me. So see, that only put me to an 8. So that really only got me 1/4 of an inch so far. I can still take out some more, so I'm going to keep going. Let's see where we're at. All right, now I'm down to, looks like almost 8.5, and I need to be at a 9. That's about as far as I can go with it. So I'm a full-blown 8.5 now, just after reaming. So that's almost a full size. So once you get some more practice, and you can see I'm not perfect at it either. I would have ideally liked to have been at roughly an 8, 8.5, but I was at a 7 and 7 3/4. So I kind of shrunk it too much. So, but now I'm at an 8.5. So I'm just going to pop this on my ring stretcher here, reed side down, and see if I can't just get that extra half size real quick. Oh, that's a 9.5. See, I actually went too far with that. So, which is okay, because now I can kind of show you how I think you were doing it before. You were taking your 17 degree. All right, so that one's too small. All right, that's my huckleberry there. So now you take your 17 degree. I want to shrink that back down because one, it's a little tapered again from being on that. And I'm at a 9.5, and I need to be a 9. So I'll put it in that die. That'll bring the tapered edge straight walled again. And this will be good for you to show you how minimal of adjustments you need when doing this. Now you can use this piece here, or if you were using a smaller ring that wasn't such a big, bulky, and a lot of material to move, you could easily use the one on the ring stretcher. Pop this down in there, tap it flush, give it a pull, but it just doesn't have the ass in the ring stretcher that the Arbor Press here does. It's got a little more weight to it, a little more robust of a draw for it. So, like, if you see, I'm just going to give it a tiny little, that was it. That's all I'm doing. And that wall is almost, where is it? Focus. Focus. You get the idea. You can see the walls on that coin are almost perfectly straight. That doesn't want to focus for me, but I don't know why this doesn't want to focus. Anyway, you can still see out of focus that the walls are pretty darn good. So I'm happy with that. Just a smidge outside of a 9 now. So now, just to make another final adjustment, I'm going to pop this back on the stretcher. And I mean, just a tiny little, that's it right there, that little tiny bump. I mean, boom, that's finer than a frog's hair. A little bit more. Bam, perfect 9. Almost complete straight walls. Right on the 9, you can see the reeded edge. Right on that 9 right there. And in fact, this is my better one right here. Look at that. Right on a 9 with the reeded edge. You can see the difference. See how the reeded edge is your actual sized edge. Right on that 9. Cut edge is wider because it's narrower. The coin is narrower at that point. And I've already reamed out the inside. So the inside edge is nice and smooth. Now all I gotta do is we take this coin, I put it on the rubber bushing on my drill, the one that you have. Slide that on there like that, tighten her down. Take sandpaper. I start with, down here I've got my different sandpaper grits from 150 to 180. I usually kind of skip the 240 and the 400. I do the 150, I do the 300, and then I do the 600. And just do the inside and the outside of each edge. And then from there, I'll do a I'll polish it up and clean it up real good. And then after that, out of focus again. And then after that, the liver of sulfur bath to put the patina on it. Just a light brushing with the steel wool to bring forward the lettering and the copper. And then dip it in Protect-A-Clear and out the door it goes. Hit me up if any questions, brother.